EJ, I do know that your organization, TBCN, is an adoption group with us. You guys clean up the Seaplane Basin. So Davis Island, and I think probably you're familiar with it, it's a
Yes.
beautiful area. You have the beach part, but you guys actually cover the Seaplane Basin, which is a big area. And I know it's one of those parks that, well, I think about when you choose parks and how you guys got that. That's fantastic because that is a beautiful place. While you're cleaning up, you have this great view of the yacht club, of the bay, going out basically towards the Sunshine Skyway Bridge.
Those wonderful houses out there.
It is. It's just a beautiful. I think you're right by the airport there, Peter O'Knight Airport.
Hello, Tampa Bay, and welcome to On the Grid. My name is EJ Moreno, and this episode is so special. On the Grid, we find people who make our Tampa Bay area better. We found someone who makes it beautiful, though. Allan, my goodness, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you today?
I'm very good. How are you, EJ?
I'm excited to speak with you. You are the Deputy Director of Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful, which is, I don't want to say a daunting task because we have a very beautiful area, but we have quite a jam-packed area. We have so many people here. Tell me about what Keep Tampa Bay is as an organization.
So Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful is actually an affiliate of Keep America Beautiful, which a lot of people are very familiar with. There's a little over 700 affiliates nationwide, so we work under kind of what Keep America Beautiful has. They have an idea of what they say is keep it clean, keep it green, and beautify. So what do? We're out cleaning parks, we're out cleaning things, making things look nice, trying to help people be mindful of recycling and things like that, and just basically restoring communities, trees, things like, in that area we try to cover to keep Tampa Bay beautiful. So
when did this start for you? I want to journey back. Not even, we'll talk about you being a hazmat worker at one point, which blows my mind of that scary horror movie plot right there sometimes. Were you one of those kids who was very into nature? Were you a outdoors kid? Kind of where does this interest of, other than wanting to be a good person and make things pretty,
sure,
where does that start for you?
Sure. So I was born in Chicago, but my parents moved to a small town in northern Wisconsin. So I did grow up. We grew up on about 3 acres, so there was a lot of nature and things like that. And I always enjoyed it. I was, fishing and things like just being outdoors was kind of my thing to do. So as I got older, I went into the military to actually get my college money, and then decided to doing something in public service. As we said, I did do some hazmat work. I worked for a fire department for 25 years. I became the person who ran their hazmat team for the state of Wisconsin. And it was when I worked for the hazmat teams that I realized how important, the environment is and how we respond to the environment, whether it's a chemical spill or even just like we do now, trash found in areas. Getting that picked up, getting it cleaned up and taken care of so it doesn't, lay out there and basically degrade and ruin the environment.
It's interesting. My experience with my background is a film critic. So my background is always learning about environmentalism through horror films especially. I mean, going back to George Romero's Night of the Living Dead, we talked so much about what we were doing to the earth, what we were doing. So you grew up in a time where it wasn't really even trendy to kind of be, we were post-hippies. So it was before, it was in this weird state. What did it feel like kind of working from that hazmat world to going to this? Talk about moving to Florida, moving to Tampa, and falling into being a wonderful environmentalist, I would say.
Oh, thank you. Well, to be truthful, when I started in the hazmat world, I wasn't sure what to think of it. But what I learned from emergency response and hazmat was people were very nervous. There's not a lot of hazardous material calls. There's a lot of fire calls. There's a lot of EMS calls. There's not a lot of hazmat calls. So what I learned were responders weren't really responding quick and they were nervous on what to do. Mm-hmm. So when I worked for the hazmat teams, I actually ended up teaching in the state of Wisconsin as well, many other teams on how to respond quicker because a quicker response leads to better outcomes. Less fuel laying around for hours or days on the soil for it to absorb has a better outcome. So once I was in it, then I was hooked. So once I left Wisconsin after 25 years, I moved down here. I actually started looking at a job. I used to joke at the fire department, I said, I want to do low-speed hazmat. I don't want to have to be toned out on a 911 call. I want to do something there's problems behind it, but how can I help solve that problem? And lo and behold, one day I was looking through an online message board, and I found that Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful was looking for, at that time they were looking for someone to run their trash-free waters program. So they were looking for somebody that could be a boat captain, have that safety background, and I thought, boy, that's kind of right up my alley. I think I can handle that.
Boating. So we'll get into the fresh water and keeping that wonderful and clean as we need to here. Talk about boating a little bit. When did that start for you? When did you want to start being a captain of a ship? Because I'm terrified of the water. So anytime someone's like, I'm willingly on a boat doing things, I'm always amazed by you people.
So this will be funny if my sisters watch this because they could actually verify this. I actually had a boat before I had a car when I was 16. The first vehicle I ever bought was a boat. So I used my dad's truck, but I had a boat. So the love for the water started then. It was fishing. It was just being out on the water and enjoying that environment. And so then also when I went in the military, obvious choice was the Navy because of the amount of water. I was on a ship that did go a lot of different places. I've crossed the Arctic Circle. I've gone all the way over through the Suez Canal. I've been through the Panama Canal. So there was a lot of, I did spend a lot of time as they call it in the Navy, underway. Got out, did the firefighting thing, and anytime there was water training involved, I would try to sneak out of the station and include myself in on that training. So when I came down here, it was kind of a bucket list. After I left the fire department, I said, I want to be a licensed captain. So I went ahead and went through the classes and got my license, and that's how I became a captain down here to further my...
Yeah. Being a captain here in Florida, we're a very boat, water-centric place. We have a very wonderful environment here where beaches, you can go to swamps. Is there, learning you've traveled, is there a place that sticks out to you as one of your favorite environments? A snowy, a swamp, a marsh. Is there a place that always sticks out in our wonderful world, especially, in America? Is there a place that sticks out to you that you're like, I love the look of this?
So I would actually go back to my hometown in Wisconsin. Wausau has a world-class kayak course that goes right through the center of the city. And they can actually change the configuration so it makes it challenging every year for kayakers. So I would actually go down there and do homework. I would study. I would do things like that and just kind of look out across that water and listen to it ripple and bubble through there. There's always a magical place for me. I was back there about 2 years ago, and it had been a while, but as soon as I stepped there and sat down, it was like my spot, my serenity spot.
Oh, I love hearing that. For me, it's like, going to Indian Rocks Beach here. I've been going there since I was a kid.
Sure.
Something about it, just everyone like going to Clearwater. I'm like, it's the same beach, guys. It's a big,
Exactly.
you could go, it's less traffic.
That's right.
So I love hearing something like that. So you moved here. You fell into Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful. Tell me about working there. You're building your teams. What were some of the first big missions you got when you first got here?
So the program was pretty new. The Trash Free Water program was in existence, but they were going in a completely different direction. They had a boat on order. It was during COVID, so it took a lot of time, a lot of effort to get that boat, as everything had slowed down in production. And so my challenges were coming here. I have a program that's existed, but it's literally done a 90-degree turn here, and we're going in a whole new direction. We're going to get out and we're going to teach people about being on the water. We're going to collect trash. We're going to teach them where the trash comes from, and it's all salt water or tidal. And you've just hired a guy from Wisconsin who does fresh water and has no tidal system. So there were many learning curve moments for me to say, all right, how do we do this?
It seems like you, obviously, from what we, Tampa Bay Community Network has worked with you guys on a couple projects, the beach cleanups and things like that. So it seems like you fell into it, and it's also kind of interesting to hear of even COVID messed with you guys. I've come from the entertainment world where our life was halted.
Sure.
Just even hearing on that end, the troubles that you guys ran into there.
So the interesting thing with COVID was, although the production of the boat and other things were slowed down, it was probably one of our best times for volunteerism. Mm-hmm. Everybody wanted to get out of their house. So a lot, we had to write protocol and guidelines on how to do these outdoor events safely, but it was amazing how many people still came out and wanted to participate in a cleanup or do their, adopt-a-road programs and things like that. So, yeah, it never slowed down for us, even with COVID.
That's good. Do you see, I don't want to not to shade our wonderful humanity that we have, but do you often see that we kind of go in and out of waves of wanting to be very recycle heavy, very pro-environmentalism? Do you see that we kind of trend in and out of that?
What I see really, and it's on a yearly basis, is we have certain times of the year when people are really involved. But I do understand too, is that the 2 times of year that we see people kind of roll back a bit, is dead of summer and around the holidays. But I totally get that. I mean, everybody will get a mad rush of everybody wants to do cleanups like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. So we try to get as many out as we can, and then we get a little bit of lull, and everybody's back hardcore at it in January. So
that's good. I'm hoping we're starting off January well with you guys.
Oh, we are. Yes.
You know, speaking of January, you guys have a couple annual events. You guys have like a Gasparilla cleanup. Tell me a little bit about some of your annual events, specifically that one. I think that one's crazy because the beads, the beer bottles, there's so much that could be there.
Yeah, so that's an interesting event. That event is a little bit different than a lot of other events that are just straight cleanups. We have a lot of moving parts to it. One of them is the beads, and it's always the Sunday right after the main Gasparilla parade. So we get out, we usually do 4 sites. This year we increased it to 7, just because we did some policing around the areas, and we saw certain areas that weren't getting covered well or were ending up with more trash. So we decided, hey, we're going to go ahead and add some more sites. So, and this year was exciting for us because we have a couple of people that are coming, a couple of large sponsors that are coming out to help us. One of them is the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Wow.
And Suzuki Marine is helping sponsor our program. So that's how we were able to add 3 more sites because, we need supplies and things like that to do these jobs. So the cool thing is, 7 in the morning, we get out there, and it's been my experience that, we'll be on these sites and you'll see the same people return year after year, and they'll always say, hey, Al, do you remember me? If it's kids, and it's really cool. But they'll go out and they'll try to collect, the beads, the whatever. So this year it's getting beads, and it's getting plastic bottles, and we'll have recycling on site. If you look on Eventbrite, and we're at keeptampabaybeautiful.org, we're on Eventbrite. It'll show you can choose a site that you want to go to. If it's in your neighborhood, you can sign up. We'll give you all the supplies, we'll give you the guidance, and what I say the cool thing is you might come across a really cool string of beads. If you like them, keep them, clean them up. They're yours. The rest of them, if you don't want them, and if they're an intact string of beads, we will put them in bins and we donate them to McDonald Training Center. And McDonald Training Center takes all these beads, repurposes them, sells them back to the crews. So it really is, a recycling event. I mean, and it keeps it local, and we're able to use these beads again and again and again. And it helps McDonald Training Center help pay for some of their programming. So there's nothing better when nonprofits can work together like that.
Yeah, and I love to hear that, I can only imagine as someone who misses beads every year when I try to do it, I can imagine the hungover people coming to just come and volunteer. And that's sweet, though. I think, we need more community bringing together. And I think what you guys do very well is bring everyone together. And it becomes like, you don't leave them on their own. You give them supplies. You make it fun. And I think that's something that we are missing in so many government, departments and things like that. The fun. Can we just come together and just be goofy, collect beads, and, have a good time? And it makes it, especially you said younger generation.
Yeah.
They will come back and do that again.
Yes.
If they can giggle a couple times while doing work, it transcends so much. You guys also do a lot of custom events like that. Tell me a little bit about that of, doing individual beach cleanups, adopt a road and things like that.
So our custom programs, let's say TBCN wants to come out and they want to do a cleanup, and they say, this year we kind of want to make it a beach theme. We'll work with our projects managers and we'll try to find, and we work with the city and a lot of different entities. We'll see if we can accommodate that. We'll say, EJ, how many folks do you have? And we will try and find a spot that fits the amount of people. We'll suggest some time frames because, again, like I said, we don't want people out when it's dead of summer, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's really hot. So we would work with you to come up with a place to go for your team to have this experience. Yeah, I do know that your organization, TBCN, is an adoption group with us. You guys clean up the Seaplane Basin. So Davis Island, and I think probably you're familiar with it, it's a beautiful area. You have the beach part, but you guys actually cover the Seaplane Basin, which is a big area. And I know it's one of those parks that, I think about when you choose parks and how you guys got that. That's fantastic because that is a beautiful place. While you're cleaning up, you have this great view of the yacht club, of the bay, going out basically towards the Sunshine Skyway Bridge.
Those wonderful houses out there.
It is. It's just a beautiful. You're right by the airport there, Peter O'Knight Airport. So, and I do know that people might say, well, that's an area that's not that busy or it doesn't get that dirty. I would argue it's probably one of the worst I've seen, especially after 4th of July fireworks. It is. I've seen the stacks and racks out there from them launching fireworks. So I think it's really cool that you guys have that, and you guys get to kind of experience it, and you can speak firsthand for what we're trying to do, how we're trying to get people to come out, clean up, but have fun while you're doing it. Pick a beautiful location, and even if you didn't know that spot was beautiful, come out to some of our events and look around. You'll see how beautiful those spots really are, and who knows, if you like it, maybe you'll adopt that park, and it'll be one more that we won't have to worry about. We have roads, beaches, boat ramps, monofilament tubes, and what we do is civic groups or companies will we have an actual map on our website that they can look and say, what's available, what streets are available, and you commit to 1 mile stretch to clean it 4 times a year, and if you clean that, and it's a 2-year contract for you to do that, we will put a sign up with your business name on there, so you get recognition and credit for helping us out. And that's to no cost to the civic group or the business. We'll pay for that, and just have the people come on out and clean and get the recognition for cleaning that stretch.
I notice those every time too. If I see this highway was adopted, that works. And I to learn the details behind that, I truly thought they just got a sign. So I love that there's a requirement to it.
Yes.
I love that there is a bit of, again, you keep circling back to, we'll give you this, but please do something for us in return.
Right.
And I think that's interesting of the give and take in this community. It's hard, because it's hard to try to get people to care about something that I don't think everyone always recognizes.
Correct.
We don't normally think of the recycling. I remember going in elementary school, we went to the Hillsborough County River, and we got to do something called Nature's Classroom. And we got to go, and I just learned so much about cleaning there, what that meant. Is there something you noticed that really sparks somebody? Is it a beach cleanup? Is it adopt a road? Is there something that you see that really gravitates towards people? Is it the trash-free waters? Because I think that's something I did not realize was as important as it needs to be.
So I think it's a few things. I think what we see, and you're right, EJ, when we have an event, we try to make it fun. Last year we invested in a big speaker, so now we do music while we're out there doing registration. We'll bring snacks. Sometimes we'll have giveaways. If we have sponsors, we'll have T-shirts of the event, and we try to make it fun. So people are coming out there, they come out for a few hours, they have some fun, and it's usually when they're walking around doing all of this and talking with staff or people that have done this before that they realize how important this is, or how much of an issue. Trash on the shore, people don't think about it. It's inches from being in the water, and it becomes exponentially harder to collect once it's in the water. So, in the Trash Free Waters program. So, when I do take people out on the boat, when we talk about where sources of trash come from in the water, I think a lot of people are surprised. And I have a large core group of people that, if I just let them sign up solely, they would fill every Eventbrite spot that we ever post for that program. They're dedicated to it, they love it, and the biggest thing is like empowering, that you feel like you're making a difference out there. So we have fun, we work hard, but in the end, it is fun, and we're serving a good purpose.
Is there any maybe not programs is the word I'm looking for. Is there any programs that you're looking to maybe start? Is there something cooking up that you've always wanted to see come to fruition? I mean, the fresh waters is nice. I love seeing what you're doing with the beach cleanups at TBCN. I love seeing all of us come together for it. Can you tell me about something that you maybe aren't officially in the works of, but is there something you want to see happen in the next couple years?
So one of the programs that staff is working on, and I'm hoping I get this right, I think it's called Mind, Body, Earth.
Okay.
So what they thought of was typically people that do meditation or yoga are probably into conservation, environmentalism, and things like that.
Good profiling there. That's a good profiling.
Exactly right. So what they want to do is they want to incorporate, not just, because we've done it with the music, we've done it on the boats. What they want to do is maybe have a yoga event and then clean up a small park. A meditation event and then clean up a small park. Things like that. So we want to wrap kind of this up into it all being, earth spiritualism, if that makes sense. And they just rolled one. I think we did one last year. I think we did a puppy yoga. You can't imagine. You probably can't imagine how
the word puppy yoga seems
off the chart. That one was.
Yeah.
But we also did a small yoga event, which went over very well. And they're in the process of trying to, work on getting
officiated.
Yes, officiated and get the right people because none of us are yoga masters. So
Okay.
I know I look like it,
I
but
would say,
no.
I
yeah.
thought you were the yoga master. You told me that before we got on camera.
That's right. Well kept secret in Tampa. But yeah, so we're trying to get the people that we know can get this done and help us out. So I think that's probably one of our biggest, newest, most exciting things that we're doing.
Do you have any programs that, I wish I could have done more research, but for kids, is there something, because
yes.
my little man, he'll be outside and I could just see him, he'll see cigarette butts outside and get so angry, and I'm like, good, but also where can I feel this anger at? Can you tell me a little bit about something maybe gearing for the younger ones?
Yeah, so we have an education division within Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful, and our focus is community outreach. We go into the schools, we do a lot of work with schools, and a lot of the schools actually have environmental clubs. So we will work with those environmental clubs and set up like ambassadors and things like that to get them to get the message out. We actually worked with 2 young ladies last year at a couple of our events that would show up to our cleanups all the time. So we asked them, hey, would you help out? Because sometimes the message delivered peer-to-peer is a lot better than me or other staff talking to somebody much younger. If you can have that person to do that, that's great. We also have one event that comes to mind is called the Kids Kickoff. We do a Great American Cleanup, and that's an initiative from Keep America Beautiful. It runs 2 months. It starts in March. Usually we will start the Great American Cleanup with something we call the Kids Kickoff. And it is, again, we'll have it on Eventbrite, but it is geared towards children. It's geared towards a small cleanup. It's geared to talk about sustainability. How can we reuse products? How can we reduce some of our waste and things like that? And it's geared at their level. So we tell the parents, bring your kids down, we'll have fun. Last year I believe we did some face painting and we had, mini grabbers so they could go around and clean up and stuff like that. And it was a big hit. So we plan on doing it again. And that, I think, getting that initial contact and having the kids, see that and they had fun with their parents brings them back. It also brings the parents back too.
Yeah, again, it kind of goes back to there was a time period. I remember in the 90s, we were very, trying to be a lot more environmental friendly. And just like I said, it goes in trends. I love that you want to bring it back. I love that you're making it family based. Is there anything you find though, not to get into government red tape, but is there frustrations you run into? Is there a common issue you see kind of year after year that you're like, I wish we can work on this, that, maybe all of us coming together, or if we can write letters to a certain politician or anything.
Sure.
Do you see anything that you're just like, what can we do to fix this?
I think some of mine are just general. Things like dumpsters. When you see the dumpsters with the lids left open, or the dumpster will be completely filled to the brim and with cardboard. I mean, what I saw a lot of on the river over the last few years are the small single-serve plastic bags you would get at basically any grocery store, any small retailer. And what happens, I think, a lot of those get thrown away, but I literally watched them blow out of a dumpster one time. It was maybe a 3-mile-an-hour wind, and they were just flipping out of there. And that's a problem. When you leave the dumpster open, it's a problem. When trash isn't collected, it's a problem, When there aren't trash receptacles, enough of them, that becomes a problem.
You've had a issue in my neighborhood. Fortunately, sometimes it feels like it takes forever to get there, and then we have raccoons.
Oh,
We have a wonderful albino raccoon. We do love him in our neighborhood. He's rare, but it's great. Thank you for spreading trash everywhere, and you were seeing the dumpsters and things like that. Is there a way that we can, maybe on a smaller scale, not necessarily kind of contacting you guys, but what's a tip or a tip or two that you can give the average person that could just do something around their house?
Sure. So one of the things we say is hold on to your recyclables till the night before, or if you can do it even better, the morning of. If your collection is a little bit later in the day, take that out with you, set it out at the curb when you're going to work. Make sure that your recyclables are actually in a container, or your garbage for that matter. As you know, if there are raccoons around, if you set a plastic bag out with something in it that they want, it's going to take them milliseconds to tear it open, and they're not really good at recollecting after they get what they want.
No,
so,
I'm very shocked that these wild animals are not good at putting things back together. That
exactly
would be great.
right.
To kind of get on a last, almost serious topic, I'm seeing what's happening in California with the wildfires that they're dealing with there, and we just had such a hard last year with hurricanes. Are you seeing, especially after the hurricane, what was that like for you guys? What was that cleanup, just debris, there's just so much after that. What was that like, and just to kind of maybe brace people on the other coast as well.
Sure.
What do we do in these aftermaths kind of thing?
Sure. I think for us, we had to pivot a little bit. We had a lot of requests, and we'd reached out to the city and county both and said, we understand this is post-event. How can we help out? What is your biggest demand? And their biggest demand at the time was brush. From, we lost hundreds of thousands of trees in the area. And that's going to be a new focus coming up here shortly for us as well. We do tree plantings, but we're really going to do tree plantings over the next probably year.
Okay, cool.
So what we had to do is we reached out, and it was we had a board, basically a board on the wall showing what parks have we been to, who's requesting, how do we get volunteers there. And it was just this big coordination effort of getting our volunteers, our staff, and meeting the needs of what the county needed or the city needed at that time. So that was, like I said, we've done some events where we've gotten rid of invasives and things like this, but it was multiple sites daily for weeks that we were out helping them clear brush. Clearing brush is the start of them getting those parks back to normal.
Yeah.
You have to get the trees and brush out of the way before we can even pick up the trash.
Yeah, I noticed that was something, just driving, went to an event in Orlando, just to drive down there watching so many trees, just leaned over. It was so crazy to see. I've lived in Florida my entire life, and we had never seen something like that. We were talking the brush.
Yes.
I thought trash was going to be a bigger issue everywhere, but it was like, oh, that tree, that's not the trees in my neighborhood.
Right.
Why is that here and this? And it was hard to see, but I was glad to hear that on your level even, on every level. We were trying to, from the power people. I give the power crews,
my gosh, yes.
them so much credit, but then to give you guys credit for what you all did. And I think that was a unsung hero. I think that was such a, I give credit to my lawn guy down the street that helped, but you guys were doing it on a bigger front. So I want to say thank you guys for doing that as well. So our last couple minutes here, what do you want to promote? There's a couple things that we have going on. Where can we find you guys? Kind of give me some of those info.
Okay, so you can find us at keeptampabaybeautiful.org. We have a nice website. It's very user-friendly. On there would be links of our annual events and how to get in contact with us. You'll see we have different divisions. We have the education division. We have projects. We have myself that I work with the Trash-Free Waters. Feel free to go on there. Sign up for the newsletter. I will tell you our newsletter it's not an invasive newsletter. It probably comes out 10 times a year. And really, if there's an event that you're truly passionate about, that's the first thing we push it out on.
Okay.
So if you sign up for the newsletter, you're going to find out. I said it's the insider scoop to all the cool stuff going on at Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful. So, and for me, I would say, we're going to work more and more on water projects, on the Trash-Free Waters. All of our program is based on collecting trash locally here, but the biggest focus is really to keep it out of the water, and that's why we have all these other programs, because once it gets to the water, it gets a lot harder to collect. It gets a lot harder to get out of the ocean. And if it makes it out of the Hillsborough River or out of a smaller tributary and makes it under the bay, it becomes very, very, almost impossible. We're not going to collect it, is what I'll tell you.
Yeah.
It's just, there's too much, it's too far out there. So
I don't want a trash island like some of the other places.
Exactly
have.
right. Yeah. Yes, we want to keep working on what we're doing. And like I said, anything and everything we can do to stop that from getting into the water is what we're about. Please come on out and give us a hand. I guarantee you'll find it fun, and we look forward to seeing you.
Well, Allan, thank you so much for speaking with me. I learned so much here, and it was also just good to see your glee, the smile throughout this interview you had.
Thank you.
You're talking about something very serious. This is something we want to help, but I love that you have that positive energy. That's why we do On the Grid. This is the kind of people I want to bring of thank you for making Tampa as nice as it is.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching today. Please check out Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful. They do amazing work. Clean up a thing. You don't even have to work with them. Clean something up, please.
We'd be happy.
Yeah, they would be more than happy. So thank you guys so much for watching On the Grid with us. My name is EJ Moreno, and thank you guys for watching. Make sure you tune in for our next episode.